Welcome to Business Focus, a production of the Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce. I'm your host, LJ Wilson, and today we have Mark Ingrao, President and CEO of the Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce, and Tony Howard, President and CEO of the Loudoun County Chamber of Commerce. We are going to talk about Northern Virginia Restaurant Week 2016. It's going on from March 7th through the 14th, produced by the Greater Reston, Loudoun, Arlington, and Prince William Chambers of Commerce. Mark, let's start with you. Tell me why you decided to partner with the neighboring chambers this year.
Well, LJ, as you know, we started Restaurant Week about 4 years ago, and it was just really centric to in and around Reston. And Tony and I and the Arlington Chamber exec were at a conference, and we talked about how we could collaborate on a number of issues in Northern Virginia, and this one just seemed to be a natural. So approached them about coming on board and being partners, and it has been it's been a wild success. We are really thrilled to see so many restaurants from all over Northern Virginia come on board, and we actually brought on one other partner in Prince William. So now it's truly a Northern Virginia Restaurant Week. It's it's Arlington, it's Fairfax, it's Loudoun, it's Prince William. So it's going to be a great week for our restaurants to really showcase their cuisine, and that's really what it's all about, collaborating to really better our businesses, our restaurant businesses.
So Tony, why did you decide to be a part of this production of Northern Virginia Restaurant Week? I mean, he kind of started it off. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, but I'd love to. Thank you. A couple of reasons why. There was a field-tested, proven model that worked. The Greater Reston Chamber has been doing this for a number of years. Third year that Northern Virginia Restaurant Week is in existence. For several years, your chamber has been doing it and doing it well, and so was able to prove that there was a model that we could employ in Loudoun County, that we can make it region-wide, but also make it very specific to our community too as well. So it's got really the best of both worlds. We can make it very Loudoun community-oriented. Prince William can do the same. Arlington can do the same, as can Reston and the folks in Fairfax County. But we can also present ourselves as a united region of chambers and our restaurants and hotels and others that are participating. And so I thought it was a great model. I thought it was one that worked for us. You know, we're always looking for ways to deliver value to our members who are in the restaurant and hospitality business. It's one of the toughest businesses in the world to be in. They work their tails off. The margins are not that thick, and there's no guarantees of success. And so they really need as much help as any business out there. And we found a great model that works, that can be fun for everyone else who likes to go out and eat too as well, and helps us celebrate our restaurants and our hospitality. So it had a lot of winning elements that were really the reasons why we decided to jump in and be a partner.
And one other thing I'll add to that is, this is a microcosm of what we can do as regional partners together. And so this is a great way to showcase how chambers can come together, how business community come together for the betterment of the entire region. So small microcosm of a very, very large issue.
So Mark, with that in mind, the Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce, of course, started Northern Virginia Restaurant Week. Can you tell me how this event became an annual event?
Sure. So it was it was an outgrowth of our Restaurant and Hospitality Committee, which we formed to do exactly what Tony said. It's a tough business, so you really want to try to support your restaurants and your hospitality industry as much as you can. So we originally formed the committee for two reasons. One, to try to showcase them, but two, I used them as a sounding board for our public policy issues that were related to either restaurants or the hospitality industry, hotels. And when the committee formed, they said we really wanted to do something for our industry. And they came up with the idea of Restaurant Week. So as Tony mentioned, 4 years ago we started the first one. We had 20 restaurants. And then the second year we had 21 restaurants. And then we took a little bit of a hiatus, and now we're in our the third annual, if you will. But we decided that we wanted to continue to do this to really support our restaurants. And then bringing partners on board, this is just going to take off. It is just going to take off. We have almost 70 restaurants now between the 4 jurisdictions, and there is no place to go but up from here.
So gentlemen, can you tell me how Restaurant Week is helping the restaurant and hospitality community? Tony, I want to start off with you.
Sure, absolutely. I think the number one way is that we're promoting them. We're recognizing them to a wide audience. at a very low price point. You know,
Yes.
it's $250 for one restaurant to participate. That you will get about the size of a business card ad in a local newspaper for that amount of money. And we are promoting it heavily to our members, but we're also promoting it heavily to our community through a number of different means, from social media, display advertising in local newspapers. And so I think just the marketing value alone is well worth the investment they're making in there. But also to take that 1 week and to spotlight an industry that's just so vital to the overall economic health of our communities. You know, I think restaurants are sometimes underappreciated, how important they are in terms of the taxes they generate, the jobs they provide, and the great opportunities for families and neighbors to come together and socialize and enjoy some fellowship. You know, just some good times together. Where do you go to do that? You know, it's
Restaurant.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there are other places
Yeah.
too as well, but restaurants are up at the top of the list. And so let's celebrate them. Let's put the spotlight on them. And let's say, you know, in many ways, thank you to them for what they provide to our communities and the quality of life that we enjoy. And we hope that all of our nearly 70 restaurants are getting that level of value out of their participation.
Yeah, I can't agree more. You know, think about where do you go do business? I mean, you call up somebody and say, hey, let's have a meeting. We do it over lunch. You go to a restaurant, and so restaurants provide that venue to really sit down and have a comfortable conversation. But there's so much good things that come out of these meetings at restaurants. And the restaurateurs, as Tony pointed out, big employers, big economic drivers in communities. So to be able to support them, I think, is the absolute right thing to do as a chamber. It's a one vertical, I think, that really fits in well with chambers of commerce. And so I'm just pleased that we're able to do it, partner with some good partners, and really showcase what they do for the community. You know, because they really do give back in a number of ways that a lot of people don't even know about. Mm-hmm. And we can talk a little bit more about that, I think, right?
Yes, we can. Just from our meetings that we have,
Mm-hmm.
we always have it at Il Fornaio, which is one of the participating
Right.
Northern Virginia Restaurant Week restaurants. I mean, and then also we have restaurants that have contributed to Cornerstones, which is one of our partners. And so we can definitely talk to that. So without further ado, Fairfax government provided a resolution that was presented by the Board of Supervisors to recognize March 7th through the 14th as Restaurant Week in Fairfax. Mark, can you tell me about that resolution and what this means to Restaurant Week?
Sure. I was thrilled that Supervisor Harity actually approached us about doing this and naming Restaurant Week in Fairfax County the same week as our week in Northern Virginia. And I thought, again, it was a great way to showcase the give back that the restaurants provide to the community. So as you pointed out, they give so much food to the homeless shelter. They give food to the first responders. They provide just so many venues for the businesses to have great food. We just finished the World Police and Fire Games, and they gave over 2,000 meals to those participants. So I think the resolution really highlights the give back that the restaurant and the hospitality community gives to the community. And that's why we're so pleased to have that resolution and the fact that they made it the same time as our Northern Virginia Restaurant Week.
So Mark and Tony, last year there were only 20 restaurants participating. Now we are at over 65 restaurants. Mm-hmm. Can you both tell me, and I'm going to go from one to the other, why there's been such an increase in this year's participation? So I'm going to start with Tony.
Well, I think the natural answer is they have 3 great partners that came on board to support the Greater Reston Chamber in this endeavor. And
Absolutely.
So we have a greater economy of scale. We're reaching new audiences and new communities. And I really think the sky is the limit. I mean, we had a conference call recently, and I was joking about taking the number to 100, 125, 150
no, you said
someday.
200.
Okay, we'll set the bar where the bar. We don't know where it's going to go. The first year is always going to have the lowest participation rate if you do it right, and I think we are doing it right and correctly. And so I think that's the reason why, is because you've grown the program, grown the partnership. And I mean, I'd love to see us at 200 restaurants participating one day. I mean, that's a very audacious goal to achieve, but if we land at 175, I still think that's a pretty darn good number, even if we fell short of that goal. So I think that's why. We'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark, your thoughts?
I agree. I couldn't agree more. I think the sky's the limit. I think the other thing that we're able to do is we're able to pull in people or restaurants that aren't members of the chamber. So this gives them an opportunity to see what chambers are all about, what we do in terms of economic development, what we do for education, what our programming does for their employees. Right, so now they see the value of being a chamber member. So not only are we helping them highlight them in the community, but we could potentially be getting some members from that, which we always want to try to grow our membership base. So, so I think it's a win-win for everybody. And like Tony says, I think sky's the limit. I think we can go 200. I think is a great number for next year.
So, Mark,
some year.
Some year. Okay. All right, that's too audacious.
I think we can get there.
We'll get there.
So, Mark and Tony, thank you for joining me today. To see all of the participating restaurants and to make your reservations to the over 65 restaurants, please visit www.novarestaurantweek.com. Again, this is Mark Ingrao, President and CEO of the Greater Reston Chamber of Commerce, and Tony Howard, President and CEO of the Loudoun County Chamber of Commerce. And I'm your host, LJ Wilson, and thank you for watching Business Focus.